Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Some breaking news for y'all. Tom Pelissero said the Texans are working towards a deal with David Culley to make him their head coach. Sources tell me at Rapsheet, which is Rappaport, and Mike Garafolo. And oh my god, my instant reaction is this came out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere, but like we never considered him as like a serious candidate. And you saw with the last video I made, I thought it was between Frazier and Eric Bieniemy, and there was a lot of smoke that was going like for Eric Bieniemy as the next Texans head coach. And here's another tweet from Pelissero. He says, amidst scrutiny of the NFL's hiring practices, the Texans had the final head coach vacancy and are now poised to hire the first black head coach and second minority in the cycle as they work towards finalizing a deal with David Culley. And some background on David Culley. Culley has been in coaching for 27 years in the NFL and spent 16 seasons with Andy Reid at Philadelphia and Kansas City. And one of his positive traits are his ability to connect with players and be a leader of men and command the locker room is something that John Harbaugh raved about and when asked about him. And Culley also coached in college for 17 years or something like that. And Culley is 65 years old, and the fact that he was not an OC in the past. He was only a passing game coordinator, wide receiver coach, QB coach. He was never an official offensive coordinator. And the fact that he finally got his first head coach opportunity, like so many years later, just shows how bad of a hire this is probably going to turn out. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I eat crow, but I'm going to give this hire a D minus. D for David Culley. What do you think about this hire, man?
My instant reaction, like right now, I'm not really surprised because, like, the Texans, whenever they ever done anything right, like, it's the same bullshit all the time. Bad hires. They're not bad hires necessarily, but just, like, no-name hires. People that you don't expect out of nowhere. Like, everybody thought it was going to be Eric Bieniemy. I mean, either him or Frazier, but mainly Eric Bieniemy. And then out of nowhere, this guy. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to be a bad coach because apparently a lot of the Ravens players have a good relationship with him, and the Watson grew a good relationship with him in the Pro Bowl last year. So maybe that's one of the reasons to maybe get Watson more on track, which, I mean, I hope he does, but who even knows at this point anymore. Let's just hope it's going to become a new culture here. He brings a new culture. For my, like, initial grade, I think I'm going to give it like a C+, C-. Because for one, like, we don't know. What if he turns out to be some kind of amazing head coach? Sure, he's not like a OC or DC, but he's like you said, like a leader amongst men, and all the reports say that and all of that. So let's just hope for the best, I guess.
The thing that makes this hire so like confusing to me is that, like, objectively, it's not a really great hire because you have Eric Bieniemy on the table, you have Matt Eberflus on the table, you have Joe Brady on the table, and so it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, like Watson, I feel like Watson prefers Eberflus and Eric Bieniemy. I feel like those two are more qualified than David Culley, who hasn't ever been an actual offensive coordinator or defense coordinator. So I don't know. I mean, I think this hire really truly shows the power of Jack Easterby because guess what? David Culley is a super religious dude, a devout Christian. I mean, nothing wrong with religion or anything, but like I feel like that's the way this team is headed. Is like a religious organization. It's like it's just not the way to go.
They prefer, what is it? Men who, not this is bad, but like they prefer men who worship God more than football players.
Exactly.
Like they don't really care. Yeah. Like Eric Murray, I think he's a very religious person from his IG posts and everything. But as a football player, we all seen what he's done. It's basically nothing. And same with a lot of these players in defense who got major contracts.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea where this team is headed, man. It's just too confusing for me to even process. Like, I can't even bring myself to, like, form proper sentences. That's how, like, shocked I am, like, at this
I mean, for
hire.
all we know, maybe Watson. I mean, I doubt it, but for all we know, maybe Watson advocated for him a little bit somehow. I mean,
Okay,
that's that's hope, I guess.
the only way this hire will look good in my eyes is if Watson ends up changing his mind and staying, which I highly doubt. There's been too much like signals saying that Watson is leaving, and he hasn't denied it. And I feel like Watson is not going to be on the Texans the next season. Just the truth. I feel like I hope I'm wrong. I really want Watson to stay, of course. I mean, how many times do you get a chance to draft a franchise quarterback that's going to save your team from being like a poverty team basically. So we're just literally giving up the one good thing that we had, and we're just making it worse. And I you know how Deshaun Watson openly advocated for Eric Bieniemy, openly advocated for people like Matt Eberflus and things like that. So I don't know. I just like, was Watson's opinion not considered, or like, I mean, I guess maybe it was, since they did interview Bieniemy, but it had to like be more than that. I feel like, do things change if if the Chiefs lost to the Bills? Like, I don't know, because we could have hired Bieniemy then, or did we just were we just impatient about waiting on Bieniemy? I have no idea.
I mean, to be honest, if I sit back and look at this from like a non-biased, non-Houston Texans fan, I'm not gonna say it makes sense of a hire or it's a good hire, but I mean, it would give. We're keeping Tim Kelly because Watson wants Tim Kelly, and what's his name, David Culley. He's not like a specific offense or defense. I mean, he was a wide receiver coach, but it's not like he calls plays, whatever. So maybe if they thought if we hired our enemy, he's gonna want to call the plays over Tim Kelly or mess that up and then create a dispute there. And then same thing if we hire Leslie Frazier, whoever we bring in as a defensive coordinator, he's gonna mess up to him there. So maybe we just got a neutral coach who's just gonna be a leader, who's just gonna like be a like a hype man, I guess. I don't know, just something like that. So then the OC
Yeah.
and DC can have their own like the specific thing, like you
Independence.
know what I mean?
Yeah, and their own independence in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I saw a tweet that said that David Culley is capable to bring qualified guys to the roster, and like you said, hopefully he's not necessarily like a guy who does the play calling, but is, yeah, like you said, leader of men, just delegates things and things like that. I mean, that's what Sala is doing with the Jets, and that's a guy who we were really high on. And the thing I'm like not sure about is, do we have to give the Ravens the third round compensatory picks for taking their like one of their coaches?
I think so. Isn't it part of the Rooney Rule? If we make him a head coach or whatever.
Yeah, I thought like the condition was like if they were to develop him, but like David Culley wasn't developed by the Ravens. He was just hired by them last year. He was like developed under Andy Reid and the Eagles and the Chiefs. So I don't think it does. I don't think we give them a third round compensatory pick. It doesn't make sense because they didn't really develop him as a coach. But yeah, I'm just gonna be like super like cautiously optimistic about, like, I'm gonna like, my instant reaction is like, this is not a good hire, man. But I'm just gonna be a little optimistic. Just I don't know. Just for
I
my own
mean,
sanity.
honestly, I really don't give a fuck about the hire as long as Watson stays. As long as Watson stays, I'm good. I don't care. We could bring a duck, a literal duck to come be the head coach, and I don't care. As long as Watson's here, I'm good. Watson can. We all know he's gonna do whatever it takes to win. So
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Watson showed he was good with no head coach at all, with the interim head coach with Romeo Crennel, and
And a rookie OC with no
exactly. So,
weapons other
like,
than
we know
Cooks.
that Deshaun is capable of elevating the talent around him and overcoming a lot of difficulties. But the question is he going to stay with the Texans? And if David Culley can do a better job than Romeo in the off season and things like that, like coaching wise, who knows? But That's gonna wrap up the video. Let us know what your thoughts are on this hire. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Talk to y'all later. Peace.